Alright guys, I hope you're ready for even more reveals as we have our full look at Wave 2 of the Mcfarlane Toys action figure line. And this one is based around Avatar: The Way of Water. They won't include anything too spoilery since those will come after the movie in a Wave 3, early in 2023 or so. But we got a lot to cover, so let's just dive right in. And we are first going to start with one that isn't part of the traditional action figure line, but it's one I told you guys about in videos past. And that is this remote control Akula figure. I had mentioned that we would also get something with lifelike motion, similar to a shark toy they did years ago, that just like this was able to be controlled in the water like in a pool, but that shark toy would also be able to move on its own and could detect the sides of the pool and move away from it on its own. And it will have real looking motion throughout the body and tail, so it's fitting that the first one we see with this is actually the Akula, which has been said to be the more aggressive cousin to the Nalusa we have already seen, and we see it's even more heavily inspired by sharks. And actually, this is our first look at the Akula itself. But now let's start with the smaller scale in the action figure line. We will get another 3 smaller Banshees, just like we did in Wave 1. Up first is this yellow Banshee, and all 3 of these colors are great. I like how just changing the color can make a big difference on the Banshee design itself, and make it look unique. Next we have this new purple colorway for the Banshee. And lastly we get this new one they are calling Seafoam, which makes it very fitting for the ocean theme. Next we have a look at the small scale Neteyam riding an elu underwater. I like that with the first wave it was Pandoran fauna from the land, and in this one the added Pandora fauna in the small scale will be like the coral from under the sea. Next we have some RDA vehicles, starting first with another small scale amp suit with an RDA pilot. And the differences here seem to be the paint job a little bit, as well as a new weapon that comes with the amp suit itself. Next we get a new vehicle with this crab suit. It'll come with a small pilot inside, and this is a great looking vehicle that not only will be able to go underwater in the movie, but can work on the land as well. And lastly, in the RDA vehicles, we get this new flying vehicle, the RDA Sea Wasp. Even though we might not like the RDA, I'm loving all these new vehicle designs so far for the second movie, and can't wait to see even more. Next we get a trio of small scale rider figures. First up we have Neytiri on a new Banshee, since we know Seze didn't make it out of the battle in the last movie. Then we get a look at Jake riding the new creature, the Skimwing. We get Tonowari himself also on a Skimwing. Next we get a look at a small scale set of the Mcfarlane Reef with Tonowari and Ronal. Obviously the detail isn't that great on these figures at this size, but from afar this still looks great, and the Reef looks pretty amazing. You know there will be some people that will try to actually have the Reef part be underwater in some kind of makeshift tank for these. And lastly, in the small scale, we get this scene here from the end of the first movie with Neytiri versus Quaritch from the fight by the shack. But now let's get on to the bigger scaled 7-inch action figure line. Up first with another Jake figure with his look from Avatar 2, as well as another Neytiri also in her look from Avatar 2. But newly for this line, we get our first Mcfarlane 7-inch figure with this Tonowari here. Love the spear accessory and the detail on the face tattoos. And this time, instead of 2 big creatures and 1 big RDA vehicle, we get 2 big RDA vehicles and 1 big creature, starting with a new amp suit, reminiscent of that small scale one with the new weapon called the Bush Boss, and a slight difference in the paint job, as well as a big version of that crab suit that we saw earlier in the small scale line. No new RDA human figures in this scale, so the only one we can put in these bigger vehicles for now is still the human Quaritch from Wave 1. And lastly, we get the Skim Wing in the bigger scale that we can have either Jake or Tonowari ride, as we saw each of them ride one in the small scale line. But that is it, guys. That's our look at Wave 2 of the Mcfarlane Toys action figure line. Will you stick with the bigger or smaller scale, or kind of cherry pick from both? Let me know down below. And what about that remote control Akula? Let me know all your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all my Avatar videos. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.